Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ohio State College Show. I am your co-host Ryan Stano.
And I'm Garrison Gaddy.
Well, Garrison, it's been a little bit of time since we spoke Monday. You know, some things have happened, but we're still waiting on some other stuff. So first off, how you been since Monday? Anything new?
Honestly, so last Friday was my younger sister's birthday,
Mm.
and my nephew's he's almost a year old now, but he was sick, and they took him to his grandparents' house, and we had all the friends there, and guess what? We all got sick, so it's been a rough week, but I've been fine. How about yourself?
Yeah, been fine. No sickness here, which is good. Been able to avoid that norovirus that I know everyone's been
Mm.
getting hit with in the past month or so, so that's good. But yeah, not too many things to complain about over here. Ohio State's still national champion, so definitely can't complain about that.
Do you say that again?
Ohio State's the national champions.
Ah,
Again, nothing to complain about. It feels really good to say, and it's really good to hear.
mhm.
Um, Now our rivals up to the north aren't having such a great time here. Um, we were gonna do a show with some of the Michigan folks over there. We'll have that for you here. It's coming sometime soon,
Mhm.
but we weren't able to do it on Tuesday because there was some information that came out specific to the Connor Stallions investigation stuff.
Yes.
Um, what did you think about that? And also the fact that when it came out by Michigan's own admission, Ohio State, Ryan Day, and his brother had nothing to do with any of that.
It was amazing. I don't know if you saw my post from about an hour ago, but I put out there. I mean, I thought it was reported that Ohio State hired private investigator Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
and that came out. So I really, and I'm sure you feel the same way as a bunch of Buckeye fans do. I feel very vindicated right now, very vindicated, because at the time when this all started, it all came out, and Ryan Day's brother, I'm sitting thinking to myself, that doesn't even make sense. Like the story's so far out there that I just can't believe it. And then
Yeah.
you have guys like Isaiah Hole who are continuing, even till today, continuing to push that narrative, that weird narrative, even after in a 137-page document
Yeah.
where you don't see Ohio State mentioned anywhere. You don't see Ryan Day. You damn sure don't. I think his name is Tim. You don't see
Yeah.
Tim Day.
Yeah.
So with that being known, and it sits there in there, says it came from inside. It came from our own house. One of my favorite things to say, Ryan, is before you come check up on me, how about you check your own house? And that's what Michigan should have been doing the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, we knew once all of that nonsense was thrown out, that wasn't true. I mean, anyone with half a brain would have been able to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Day didn't want to address it during the season because he was focused on, the season at the time. And now it's more vindication that even Michigan's own coaching staff thought things were scummy. So they had to go out
Yes.
and report it themselves. There's no just I remember just the fans posting, "Oh, there's gonna be a RICO case." Like you don't even know what a RICO case means. Like Ryan Day, it was just a bunch of Twitter wannabe nonsense. And yeah, I did. It was very vindicating and quite frankly hilarious to find out that the investigation started because someone in house didn't like what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously Ohio State was never going to have anything to do with it, and now it's just pretty much to the point where just waiting for the penalties to come. There will be penalties based on that. They didn't even necessarily deny that anything happened at this point. They
Mm-hmm.
were just like, well, the
I think
NCAA,
they admitted to wrongdoing.
yeah, no, they mentioned wrongdoing, and they were like, well, the NCAA doesn't have any like hard evidence about this. Like, well, sure they do. And do you ever delete text messages out of rage since you've become a grown man? Is that something you've ever done, like a whole text thread with somebody?
No, Ryan, because I'm a grown man. Like
Yeah,
I don't delete text messages because I'm like, oh man, I can't believe they would do that. Let me delete text messages. No, I'd probably just block them on everything and just not talk to them again. but deleting text messages is not the first thing that comes to mind.
Absolutely absurd excuse from Sherrod Moore. And for those who didn't, who did miss it, that was his excuse for deleting all the conversations he had with Connor Stallions on his phone before they were able to image it over. So, pretty poor excuse if you ask me. Just wanted to mention that off the top. I know you had some recruiting news that you wanted to get to with a few prospects because, believe it or not, the recruiting trail is heating up a bit.
No, man, it's really cool after a national championship. The first thing on these coaches' minds is to go out. Well, I mean, it is their job, but to go out there, do these at-home visits. And the cool thing about it, man, is that it's not the staffers, it's not the guys that we don't hear about in the background. These are the most prominent coaches on the staff. It's Ryan Day, it's Justin Fry, it's Coach Locke, it's Brian Hartline, making all the trips they need to make. And I mean, well, honestly, I mean, those guys are, I mean, outside of Fry, are our best recruiters. I guess I would say Ryan Day to an extent. Of course, I mean, we have OG Tony on the defensive side, who's honestly, in my opinion, rivaling Coach Hartline for the best position recruiter in college football.
Let's hold off. Let's hold off.
No, I mean currently. You got to produce them. But I mean, the DBs are coming. The DBs have played well the past few years. I said challenge. I didn't say he's taking it yet. But
okay,
that was really cool. And I guess the first guy we can start with, man, is the we'll work our way there. But Caden Gebhardt. So I have some notes here that I took on this kid. And I watched his highlight tape. I hate when guys say I watched their film. No, you watch their highlight tape. If you watch film, that means you're watching every play he's doing. Yeah, you're watching. Yeah. You're also watching his bad plays. There's a reason why it's called a highlight film.
Yeah.
But he is a safety of Olentangy High. Very good safety. Now he's not
just up the road here. Where my wife went, so very familiar with the high school in the area
really?
And everything he's doing up there. Oh yeah.
Oh, nice. Not well. You know what? Maybe talk to her. Let her know we gotta get things picked up, get things rolling. We gotta get this kid into Columbus.
Yeah,
but it just came out that he listed his top four. Penn State, along with Ohio State, with Penn State, Clemson, and Wisconsin.
Yep.
Good size, 6'2", 200. Very athletic. If you watch his tape, the kid likes to hit. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He's also very athletic. Took a few kick returns back this past season. And I think he's one of those guys that I think needs to develop more so on the coverage end. You know, when you're going against some of these high school kids and you're probably not going against the best competition, you're not going to see you're not going to see the best competition. You're not going to see what you're going to see on a week-to-week basis or even a day-to-day basis at Ohio State or wherever you go, even Wisconsin.
Yeah, so, he's playing some pretty decent competition up here in Central Ohio, but yeah.
Of course, in Central Ohio, you got all the talent. But I mean, just in terms of like when I was watching the tape, I'm looking at the players that he's on the other team. It's nowhere near what you're going to see, even if you face the wide receivers at Penn State in practice.
Yeah.
But I think he's really good.
I agree with you. He's good. He's I've seen his film as well. I do like how quickly he's able to react in the run game because, like you mentioned, he is a thumper. But the only reason why you're able to be a thumper is because you've got good play recognition, and he was able to diagnose plays quickly, get in the hole, and stop the running back. So I do like that. His cover skills, I mean, they're okay. I wouldn't say they're great right now, but he's still got a whole another year to develop. And there's a reason why he's listed as a 3-star, borderline 4-star because of that. So he's got some time, and he's got some big time offers. So obviously those schools see something in him.
Yeah, most definitely. And I missed one of my points here. Man, his eyes are always on the ball.
Yeah.
And as a safety, that's most important, but especially in the run game, he's able to come down. Again, I think he would fit well in the Ohio State system. It looks like it's probably going to take a change here. We'll see, depending on who we hire. But I mean, if things stay the same, we usually run 2 to 3 safeties at a time, bring him close to the line of scrimmage, and he would fit very well there.
Yeah.
Was there anything anything else you had to say about him?
Not really. Just I know he's a pretty good player. Depending on what happens out in the fall, if there's a decent game out here. If I say still in the mix, might go take a look at him in person, and we'll see. And before you continue here, this is your guys' show as well. If you guys want to drop comments, please comment. I dropped the link in there in the chat as well if you'd like to join us. But I know we've got a few other guys you'd like to talk about here also. So go ahead.
Yeah, just a few more here. Now the big guy, the number one recruit in the nation, Jackson Cantwell. Now, something I noticed, I'm sure you saw the photo of Justin Fry, him.
Yeah.
Ryan Day was there. And I'm happy he was there because, as we've continuously said, Fry isn't the best recruiter. Now, he's gotten some wins, but where we've kind of disagreed, where I agree with you now, he hasn't gotten a guy like this. And at Ohio State, it should be able to get a guy like this. Again, I saw it now. They have him at 6'8", 300. That's a massive.
He's a big boy. He's big boy. He's like DeJuan Jones. Not quite large weight wise, but height wise.
And I right here, I wrote down great reach. He has very long arms, and of course, as a tackle, you want to have that. You want to have a guy that can like stretch out, lean on guys, but it's very good. Great size, of course. I would say perfect size, if anything. He's actually really athletic. On run plays, I was watching his feet. If he chops them, how much field he covers in his steps, and while he's driving guys back, he does that. And then while he's doing, he's also able to use something I call eyes to. He has accurate eyes. That's what I'm saying. Accurate eyes. Once he gets from one guy, his head's moving around, he can find the next one, and that's just really impressive for a kid at his age and where he is right now in his football development.
No, he's there's a reason he's rated as the number one overall recruit in the country. If he does it all, he'd be someone who would be able to start, quite frankly, in my opinion, day one.
Mm-hmm.
And he projects out to be, when you're that big, and you can move that well. I mean, you could be used at either tackle, depending on what Ohio State's left tackle situation is up to that point. They'll probably put him there. But definitely someone to keep an eye on. He's been someone I've been watching here over the last few weeks, months, just because, he's indicated more interest. And, if Justin Fry is able to land him, this would be a big one. I talked about before how he's yet to get a 5-star recruit into Columbus. And with what he was able to do with the Ohio State offensive line this year, there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to pull one here soon. I mean, he showed that he can coach, he can develop. So it's just about getting those recruits in.
Most definitely. And something that you said about starting early, and he is someone that can do that. He is someone, like, if you already have the size and you already have the because the game of football is 50% mental. And he is very smart. He knows where to be. He doesn't waste movement, which is very important at that position. And honestly, Justin Fry should put, outside of maybe two other guys that are, I would say probably around 3 and a 4-star, unless you can go get another 5-star Justin Fry, this is a guy you put all your eggs in this basket. You put all your eggs in there. We do have a lot of young guys in the offensive line room, and you can still go to the portal if you need to fill some needs or for depth. So most definitely, this is the type of kid you have to get into Columbus.
Yeah, Cantwell's really good. I know there have been some other projections here, along the offensive line, and there were some other guys that you wanted to talk to specific to the recruiting trail. But as far as the offensive line goes, they have 3 guys who picked up predictions today, who are all Ohio kids on the offensive line who are predicted to go to Ohio State. There's a couple, and they're all 4-star guys. So, if he's able to get some of the best guys in the state of Ohio on the offensive line and to land a big fish like that, then that's one way to get start a recruiting class for Justin Fry. So hopefully those all come together.
And You know what? Now that you bring that up, let me ask you a question, or not so much a question. I'll make a statement and get your opinion on it. There's some positions where I believe in the state of Ohio, or just in the state of Ohio, that you should be able to lock it down. In my eyes, if you have a quarterback in the state of Ohio, now depending if there's multiple ones, but you should get at least one of them, right? Running back, offensive line. I'm specific on offense. I think those are positions where at Ohio State, you have the luxury of being in Ohio, which is in my opinion, one of the top 10 recruiting states in the nation in terms of talent. I think Ohio
easily.
It's just it's wild how much talent that school has compared to the rest of the teams here in the Midwest or in the Big Ten. Even the state of Michigan, where I reside, they don't have half the talent that the state of Ohio has.
Yeah.
I also think part of that has to do with a lot of the schools in the state not being good at getting the kids out there. But if there are offensive linemen in the state of Ohio, like he did here in the last class, but they're twin brothers, you have to get them here.
Yeah, no, my thought as far as recruiting in the state of Ohio, there's enough good kids here to really replenish a lot of the roster year in and year out. Now, there's going to be top, receivers. A lot of top receivers are in Texas, Florida, California. Every now and then you'll get one here. Hell, they got a 5-star recruit last year who's from the state of Indiana, Mylon Graham, who you're probably going to see a little bit more of this year now that, some of the top guys are gone. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get a lot of good offensive linemen. You're going to get, running backs, a lot of good running backs in the state of Ohio. And if you can get a lot of the offensive linemen, running backs, and there's some good defensive linemen here too. Zach Harris was a 5-star recruit out of Olentangy Liberty, a few years back. Jack Sawyer, obviously, 5-star recruit from Pickerington. If you can lock down those positions and use the rest of the country to fill out the rest of your roster, you're doing pretty well. Obviously, quarterbacks, it's really hit or miss. Obviously, it was a big hit here in 2025 with Tavian St. Clair, being a 5-star kid. But you're not going to have that every year. And that's okay. With your national brand, your Ryan Day, you've developed quarterbacks, you can go out wherever you want to get a quarterback. But it's still important to make sure that the best kids in the state of Ohio stay in the state of Ohio. So you've got to be able to, for years they talked about building that recruiting fence, around the state. So you got to keep that intact with the best kids.
I mean, hell, Ryan, well, there's about just over around 100 players on a team. You can fill out 10 of that just like Cleveland.
Yeah, just get all the Glenville kids in.
Let's go one more here. This is someone who I'm very, very interested in, and I want to get your thoughts on Caden Dixon Wyatt. Now, Brian Hartline was visiting him, and Chris Jr. It was actually his first stop. A little shorter, a little smaller than him, but he's a big receiver. 6'3", 185 pounds. In the red zone, he's a huge weapon. I wouldn't want to be the guy playing modern day with those two guys on the outside in high school with grown bodies. And if you look, his sophomore year, he ran a 4.76 40 at Spark or the Nike Combine. But then I saw something else. He ran a 4.07 shuttle. Now, for anyone that wants to know what the difference about that is, and you see a 4.76 out of a wide receiver, you're going to think to yourself, well, damn, he's slow. Maybe, but football speed's a little different than just running 40 yards. But when you see a 4.07, what that means is that he's not just quick; he's elite.
The boy's got some burst.
Yes, and that 39-inch vert with that he has burst, 39-inch vert, and he has suitors. He's one of the top wide receivers in the nation. I don't understand how I usually like to go by the composite, but to have a composite,
I typically do too.
But have a composite at 34, then you look at like 247. They have numbers 5 receiver, top 60 recruit. It's kind of
well, some of the rankings have done some weird stuff lately.
On 3 guys.
ESPN ratings are usually complete garbage, so I typically throw those out.
Yeah.
On threes aren't terrible. I typically, I mean, 247. I'd use the composite mostly,
Mhm.
but to your point, part of the reason why those rankings are so widely varied on Dixon Wyatt is because of that 40 speed, because he doesn't have that elite speed that you look for in a wide receiver, and he doesn't
Mhm.
even. When you say 4.7, that's not an average speed. That's slow by receiver standards.
Yeah.
Now the difference is, like you mentioned, he's got very good burst, so he can get open quickly. He's got the acceleration where he can get some separation, and that's how he's able to catch as many balls as he does. Now, if Ohio State gets him, he's going to be somebody who they can use a lot in the red zone because of his frame. Now, he's not massive. He's not like, Megatron size where he's, 6'4", 6'5", something like that. But he's still a big dude, and he's got a decent vertical. So he can be a weapon in the red zone. Do I see him being as good as players like Brandon Inniss or Carnell Tate? Certainly not Jeremiah Smith. But, I could see him being someone on par with like a Benjamin Victor, something like that, where
Mhm.
maybe even a little better, where he can be used as one of those bigger guys to throw the ball to, those situations. So, yeah, I mean, he's a solid guy, and he's still got a whole year to work on speed training as well to get a little bit faster. I mean, his hands are money. He doesn't drop many passes. So when you've got sure hands, that's what Brian Hartline looks for.
Yeah, I'll give some insight here. So one of my best friends, he played college receiver at D3 school, but he's someone who I honestly trust when it comes to wide receiver evaluations. Way back when I wasn't the biggest fan of I think it was Chris Olave when he came out of high school. And back then he said, man, look at his routes, look at his feet, that's all you gotta watch. Then he came to JSN, he said the same thing, but he called it early. He said JSN is gonna be way better than Julian Fleming. He called it from the get-go. And then right now, the guy he's a Michigan fan. But he loves Miles Graham.
I love me some Mylan Graham too.
He might be wrong in this. He said he could be as good as Jeremiah. I think that's out the question.
Let's calm down. Let's calm down on that.
No, we talked. We were having a conversation a while ago. He always said you don't need to be fast to be a receiver. When I was in high school, I played a guy named Willie Snead Jr. Played wide receiver for Muskegon Heights in his last 2 years. He was a quarterback at Holland Christian, then quarterback at Muskegon Heights. And then he ended up going to Ball State in Indiana while I was actually at St. Francis in Fort Wayne. And he was a big star there. I think they had his picture all over the campus. Goes to the NFL, has some success. Willie Snead ran a 4.8, everybody. But for some odd reason, he's always open.
Yeah.
And I think he can be really good, and we'll see what happens if we get him. I mean, it's a long process. So we're far away, but he's someone I definitely would keep on my radar.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's, like you said, long process. Any of these 2026 guys, you don't really know until December once they sign that letter of intent. Or I guess not even letter of intent anymore until they sign. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I know we've got someone here joining us, so I'll go ahead and bring him in. What's going on, Jackson?
How's it going, gents?
Good, man. You?
Feels good.
Pretty good. Garrison, congratulations on getting past 2,000 followers on X/Twitter.
I have you to thank for that. I appreciate you, man. I got you to thank for that. It happened very quickly, too.
Oh, you're welcome, man. I mean, you put in the hard work. I mean, you're one of the hardest working men on the planet on Ohio State, the Voice of College Football, and on Scarlet Blue Show.
I piss people off enough to where they want to follow me, so it helps.
There we go.
Fair enough.
Well, gentlemen, how does it feel to be the national champions for the 9th time in school history?
Ryan?
It feels pretty damn good. I'll say that. It felt even better drinking beer in Atlanta, watching all the sad Notre Dame fans, walk out of bars. That was even better. But it'll really feel great once we're the defending national champions here, and then we go and whoop Michigan's ass and we stop all that talk. and then all will be right with the world once more.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Ryan Day's kind of felt like, Errol Persigan and Dabo Sweeney in that regard, where it's like they're only where like some people are only judging them based off their records, off their big rivalries, whereas like they're not looking at anything else. And honestly, a lot of people now, you can't look past what happened after on rivalry week. You can't only look at that. You got to look at that playoff path. I mean, I will tell you though, that win over Tennessee, that was my favorite out of the whole playoff path.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that
they're outrunning.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's like they're out running their mouth, acting like we're gonna own Columbus. We're gonna own Columbus. And it's like they're acting like it's their house, and the players were having their shirts off, going, "Oh well, Cole doesn't bother us. Cole doesn't bother us." Like,
and the thing is, the cold clearly bothered them because, as you know, me and Garrison talked, the week leading up to that, they kept practicing indoors. They never practiced outdoors once, so they were not ready for the elements, and it showed out there. I mean, Ohio State just stomped them.
Now, it was just to add on to what you said, Ryan. It was like I had so many people telling me, "Oh man, it gets cold in Tennessee." I'm like, it might only be a few hours away, but I don't know if it gets this cold. And clearly, like we talked about last time, when you see guys huffing and puffing on the field, hey, they're cold.
I mean, you saw their helmets breaking because of the hits. Lathan Ransom and company were dealing them, so they clearly were not prepared for it. And that's what we've been saying up here in the North for years. All the Southern teams, they never come up north when the weather really starts. They never want to come up and play at that point. So once they did, they kind of saw what happened. So that's going to be a trend here, I think, with the 12-team college football playoff.
Yeah, actually, hey, Jackson, how about this? I got an idea.
Okay.
How about that crap you guys pull in the SEC I think it's like week 11 or week 12.
Oh.
It's the week before the Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
I know. I always hate it when we play those cupcake games. It always irritates me, because it's like the broadcast
Citadel.
Mercer. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I remember us playing Mercer 2 weeks before rivalry week this year, and all the broadcasters want to talk about was like how they should leave out this team or that. We don't know who's in yet.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the freaking game. Oh, that's right. You're drinking something, or you're drinking some hooch or something like that. Like, good grief! Like you're out there paying attention to everything else but the game you're calling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my god! Like the ESPN people sometimes just get on my last nerves.
Yeah, those last 10 minutes of the game, I'm sitting there listening to Kirk. And I'm just like, I want to be your friend, man.
That was bad.
I so badly want to be. I mean, I don't know if you saw Jackson, but that next day after the game, Ryan, I came on here and tried to cape for him. I tried my damnedest to do so, and it was tough. It was tough. I could look at Ryan's face, and he was kind of annoyed at me, and I don't blame him.
I mean, there was nothing you could say that was just going to change my opinion on that matter after what I had seen there. And then he just has a weird relationship with the Ohio State fan base and with the whole SEC narrative that ESPN clearly wants to push, despite how hard they say that they don't. And it's just weird because you see him make those comments against Tennessee, and then you see him cry after the national championship. So
he's a Buckeye.
I know, but it's still weird to see that juxtaposition there.
I remember watching that Andy Airy episode where they had on Kirk Herbstreit, where he was like talking about, well, we don't. My son does my Twitter account, my Instagram account.
Yeah, that's
he does
a bold-faced lie.
Yeah.
That is not true. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah, my grandma, she's from a place called Canucka, Alabama. She would always say, boy, you lie like a rug. And that's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
And
No.
I remember where he was saying, "Oh, we don't have that. We don't have a bias. If anything, accuse us of wanting Ohio State Notre Dame for a national title." And what happens? That was during the semifinals week. So I was like, "Yep, well, we're getting what they wanted, I guess."
Well, Jackson, let me ask you a question, and Ryan, I definitely want to hear your opinion on this too. Do you think the reason that Kurt has a weird relationship with Ohio State is because it's not like he's some Ohio State great.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't one of the best quarterbacks ever played Ohio State. He has a share of losses to the team up north. But hey, he's one of the best at his job, and he's been seen for what 20 years now as the
25.
I guess not the 25, like the voice or the face of Ohio State on ESPN.
Uh-huh.
Whereas take Nick Saban, he's a legend, greatest coach I've ever seen in my life. Like he's the face of Alabama, and there's a reason for it. I think. Do you think that's kind of why the reason why it's a weird relationship with Kurt and why some people Columbus have disdain for him?
I
Yeah,
mean,
go ahead.
yeah, I mean, it's like you can't really see Herbstreit's the face of Ohio State anymore because, like, even though he went to school there, he's not exactly the Ohio State man anymore. He's just, yeah, it's like same thing where you see like Desmond Howard. I mean, like nobody's really thinking of
God.
Huh. I mean, like Desmond Howard, like he's just the laugh track. Like that's what he is. Where it's like, go hi. It's like, oh Lord.
So
That's a good.
my opinion on that is I do think he gets caught sometimes in the middle where he wants to be so objective sometimes. And I think he takes it too far in the other direction where he's trying to be negative to Ohio State to be like, oh, hey, look, I'm not some Ohio State lover. Look, I'll criticize him too. But I think it's overkill in certain scenarios. He hasn't, even now, 25 plus years in, I'm not sure he's found the proper balance to say how he should feel in an objective way. And you know, as far as him being like the face of Ohio State, I mean, there's a lot of Ohio State alumni out there in the media space now. I mean, ESPN's they've got Joey Galloway, they've had him for a while. I mean, Joshua Perry's on the NBC show now. They've got guys all over the place. I mean, Chris Carter was with ESPN for a while. I
have J.K. Simmons as the face of Ohio State.
I do like me some J.K. Simmons. But you know,
old Whiplash.
Watched that like last week, actually. Love it.
It's just a weird dynamic with him and the fan base. And I mean, quite frankly, a lot of it stems back here from Columbus when he was a local, radio guy here. There's some local radio hosts here who worked with him who let's just say he wasn't as professional as they were hoping he would be, because he was trying to do that while he was turning the TV, and then he just kind of neglected the radio part. And that's why there's some sour grapes here among some of the local guys. But I mean, he obviously still loves Ohio State. I mean, we saw that emotion after the national championship game. That much you can't deny.
Yeah.
Oh, Jackson, who were you rooting for in the national championship?
Well, I'll be honest. I was pulling for like Notre Dame in that case, not because of anything against the Buckeyes, but I'm a sucker for the Irish because of the fact that I was raised Catholic, and it was like, I mean, it's a good excuse pull for Notre Dame, and I like the fact it was that national title drought that was really long. So, and I really like what Marcus Freeman has done with the program. And I'll be honest, I think you're going to see a national title out of Notre Dame football from Marcus Freeman. It's not a matter of if, but when. You will see a national title from that program. Because, I mean, the players there in South Bend bust their butts for him. They are so happy for him, man. And the fact of the matter is, you'll definitely see that. Like if Brian Kelly was still in South Bend, you would never see a natty, let alone a playoff win. You wouldn't see a Sugar Bowl. Yeah, but Brian Kelly just falls short. He's like,
look, Jackson, I actually had this conversation with some Notre Dame fans, and It was before the national championship, actually. And I told them, look, and just so that we put this out there, I am a Brian Kelly slappy. I am West Michigan born and raised. He's the greatest coach of all time in D2. Made the Grand Valley State the best Division II program of all time. So I am biased. Well, I am biased.
That's okay.
No, the bias is clear.
Yes. I won't hide it. But what I was telling was this: that look, I don't know. I don't know if Marcus Freeman will ever win a national championship at Notre Dame. This is the reason why. Everything that I told him that was going to happen against us was the exact same thing that happened against you guys, Jackson. I said, you could take this Notre Dame team right now with Marcus Freeman coaching it, throw them on that field with Alabama, and they would have lost the same way.
Oh, yeah.
And I just think that for Notre Dame, it's not so – I mean, they have the academic side of it also. A lot of kids don't want to live in South Bend.
Look.
You lived in Indiana, Ryan. You lived in Indiana.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm from Indiana. I'm also Catholic, so Notre Dame was always my second favorite college growing up. So I sympathize with Jackson on that front. But I've been to Notre Dame's campus multiple times. Notre Dame's campus it's very nice. They've got top-notch everything there.
They do.
It is strange. You have to live on campus 3 years, which is not something I would enjoy if I were an athlete. I'm sure they make exceptions for athletes, but I'm not sure.
That's real?
Yeah, that's real. The academic part of it, they have lowered that for athletes in recent years, especially now with NIL coming in. I mean, they basically tell some of the players what they should want to take, if they're not, depending on what they want to major in, obviously.
Right.
But the thing is, Notre Dame still should be able to compete on a national landscape almost every year.
Oh, yes.
With the tradition they have, with the facilities they have, and with the tradition of winning that they've built over the last 100 years. Mm-hmm. And for Marcus Freeman to be able to take that and actually build something within the first 3 years of him being there, I think that speaks volumes to the kind of coach he is. I think I don't know if I can completely agree with you, Jackson, as far as he will win a national championship with Notre Dame, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I do think he's a good coach. That's and fair. To Garrison's point, they do play hard like hell for him, and they love him. And he's a really good coach, and Notre Dame should be in the thick of things every year.
And while we're sitting here giving Notre Dame love, let me just say, as someone born and raised in the state of Michigan as a Buckeye, and had to deal with, I'm a Spartan basketball fan, but I deal with Wolverines and I deal with Spartans, and they had a common foe. It was us and Notre Dame. So I was always like, you know what? I like Notre Dame. And also because I know you guys are going to disagree with me on this. I have always called Notre Dame the best job in college football because I think everybody wants that job. I think most head coaches have wanted that job.
Well, to be fair, I think a lot of people in college football are jealous of the fact that Notre Dame gets to actually make their own schedule, have their own TV deals, keep all the money to themselves, while it's like, wait a minute, we got to share all the money. We got to share this. We got to share the TV deals. We don't get to make our own schedule set like 3-4 games. Come on.
That's certainly part of it, but I do think that it's starting to change now with the 12-team era, and now the fact that you only get automatic bids if you win a conference. Notre Dame will never have that opportunity. Now, obviously, that seeding can change within the next few years. They're going to change some of the aspects of the seeding, but as of right now, the best seeding they can get is 5, so they would always host a first-round playoff game. So, that might change part of it. But, I mean, obviously, Notre Dame is a very attractive job, and it should be, but I don't think it's the most attractive job. Quite frankly, the most attractive job in college football would either be it's got to be either Texas, Ohio State, USC, or, Florida. Those are the 4. I mean, Notre Dame's definitely up there as far as, top 10. Alabama's definitely up there as well. The problem with Alabama now is you got to follow Nick Saban.
You don't got
So
to tell him how much you're paying your coach.
well, that's true. That's also true. But all of those programs that I mentioned, they're all in fertile recruiting grounds. They've all got a history of winning, and they've all got an exceptional tradition and great facilities. And in the case of every one of those, except for Ohio State, you're in warm weather for most of the year. So those are kind of the top four that I've been thinking. If you want to pick, the only reason I said four is because they've actually won a national championship in the last 20 years instead of Miami. So there's that.
So I want to get to Ernest's question here, but before we do that, let's we have a message from Mark, everybody.
Ohio State, Michigan, the greatest rivalry in sports deserves the greatest debate in sports. Monday, February 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on the main channel. It's the Ohio State, Michigan All Everything Debate with me, taking your calls all night if it takes all night. I'm pulling no punches, so beware. Bring your best intel. It's the Ohio State, Michigan All Everything Debate. It will be epic. February 17th, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Be there.
The All Everything Debate. That is awesome. 3 days after Valentine's Day. Oh,
yeah.
Speaking of which, the top Valentine's Day gift for college football fans, the disputed national champions, the historical 1990s reset written by Mark Rogers, baby.
That's right.
There we go. And of course, check out Garrison and the magic that he's pulling on the Scarlet Blue Show and on the Ohio State Primetime Call-In Show, and the magic that Ryan Sanders brings on the Ohio State Primetime Call-In Show, and the magic that he brings on fan-sided Scarlet and Game and Buckeye Focus and LA Sports Report. Am I correct?
That's right.
There we go.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, Garrison, I know you want to bring up here this comment here from Ernest. Is Julian Sayin ready? You saw a little bit of Julian Sayin, Jackson, for the brief, half a second he was enrolled with Alabama, but I know you followed him in the recruiting process. I want to hear your opinion on it first, because I know me and Garrison have talked about him at length. So what's your perspective on him?
Oh man, he is excelente. Excelente.
Yeah.
Was there like a chance he was? Do you think there was might have been a chance that he would have played this season for you guys?
I wish.
They would have stuck with Milroe. I mean, after he'd been starter the year before, I think they probably would have stuck with him. But as far as if he's ready for Ohio State, me and Garrison have been talking, for the last few weeks. He's the favorite right now for the starting job. It's probably going to be him or Tavian St. Clair. But I keep hearing people say don't count out Lincoln Kienholz. I've been counting him out. I can't really see him taking that job just because of the sheer talent between Sayin and St. Clair. But if he's the best for the job, then so be it. But I do think Sayin is the leader in the clubhouse, and I'm really excited to see him get the play in a spring game, because he didn't get the majority of the he wasn't getting the majority of the first team reps last year when it was Will Howard and Devin Brown getting a lot of the reps. So I'm really curious to see how much he's improved and how well he can play in that setting.
Yeah, I'm right with you. If I'm not mistaken, did Aaron Nolan get more snaps than he did?
I think he did.
Yeah. It was that was really interesting. And then even at the end of the year, having him still be third string, but I believe Julian Sayin is that guy. I truly do. Came out of the class with two other well-known quarterbacks in Lagway and Raiola. He got just as much attention. And who finished number one between those three?
It was Raiola.
It was Raiola. Okay. So,
who was an Ohio State commit for a hot second, by the way?
Yeah, for a hot second. I think, of course, he has to get bigger. He's a smaller guy. He's kind of like a Caucasian Bryce Young in my eyes. Can move around, pretty mobile. Not as mobile as Bryce Young probably, but mobile enough. The arm angles that he can throw at, those are angles that Will Howard can't even do right now at this age and at this point in his career as a quarterback. I believe he has all the tools. What also helps, Ohio State has the best weapons in college football. What also helps is that he's returning the interior O-line, and you're bringing in two of the best tackles out of the transfer portal. Like I think it's really hard for him to fail. And it's not because he doesn't have the talent. There's going to be growing pains with Julian Saint.
Of course, there's growing pains with any new quarterback.
Yeah, I'm not expecting him to be C.J. Stroud and come out the gate and throw for 350 plus. That is not what I'm expecting. But I'm not going to be surprised at all if he has a very successful year. I think I posted a few weeks ago. I said, look, give me 4,200 passing yards, 41 touchdowns, and set 68 completion percentage. I think that's what he's going to be around.
To your point, you made a great point as far as he doesn't have to be the do everything guy, especially as a true, as someone who is going to be a first time starter. He's going to have a great group of wide receivers. He's still got Jeremiah Smith to throw the ball to, and even if it's just a wide receiver screen, he can take it to the house every time. He's going to have some weapons to distribute the ball. Max Clare's a tight end. When you're a first-time starter,
I forgot about Max Clare.
The tight end can be someone who you can lean on as a security blanket, and Clare is someone who is going to gobble up a lot of yards. And it's going to be strange for Ohio State fans to see a tight end get so many targets because they're not used to it because they've never had a weapon like Clare. I think he's going to be a big part of the offense next year as well, and all of that's going to help Julian.
I also believe that when you have guys like that are coaching you like Ryan Day, I expect you to be ready when the time comes. I can deal with the growing pains, but I expect you to be ready when it comes to be a leader, when it comes to find the right reads. There's not many defenses you're going to play better than the one you got on your own team. You're not going to throughout the 134 teams that are in college football. So, when next year comes, I'm going to be very excited. I'm also very excited because even though I love the offense this year, even though I love the 2019-20 offense, let's not get it twisted. Ryan Day's prettiest offense is when he can sit back and throw the ball. It's masterful. And I think we're going to go into that this season. Julian Saint's going to be able to throw the ball a lot more than Will Howard did, and they're going to do that. And I think that the difference with what we have this upcoming year and what we had in the 2021 and 2022 year, well, 2022's defense wasn't bad, but they could big plays. But you're gonna have the ability to have an excellent passing offense, an elite passing offense with a shutdown defense. So I'm really excited for Julian. I think he's gonna be that guy at Ohio State. Am I ready to say he's gonna win a Heisman? No, but
yeah. Well, and to Philip's point here, the weakness on the team is the defensive tackles. The defensive line is something that we talked about as being a concern just because they lose. All their starters, they're all gone. So it's never great when you got to replace an entire unit. But a lot of the guys who are going to be starting next year are guys who have gotten in the rotation. Like they've played. So they've played in big games. They understand what it's like. So I'm not super concerned about the defensive line. Would I like to see them maybe get a little bit more active in the portal for that? Sure. But I think they're going to be fine.
You guys got any of those defensive tackles down in Tuscaloosa you can ship up here?
We're good. We need all the defense we can get in Tuscaloosa. We are good to go. Yeah, we're losing guys left, right, and center, but we're getting some people back in the spring. That's the plan.
Well, and that's the other thing as far as some help on the defensive line. And we talked about it on Monday, Garrison, the spring portal needs. So if they don't like how they're developing up front with the guys they've got right now, they can always go into the portal and get someone during that spring window, which sounds like this is probably going to be the last spring window there is. So the guys who want to move on in the spring, they better take advantage of it now before it's gone.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of the spring portal. Because the chances of getting some A-list, even a B-list player out of it isn't high. I see it more as like a bunch of players who are not getting any playing time, or they're probably not going to play at all, probably lost their position, and they need to go somewhere else. So I forgot what the number was last year, but what do you guys know? Did you see how many people were in the transfer portal last season?
There was a lot, and there was a decent. There was close to like
1,000.
It was over. I think it was over 50% of people that didn't find a new home. Like it was quite a large number, which is part of the reason why they're shrinking the windows down to just one in the winter.
I on Scar and Blue Show, Bryce and I had that conversation actually. I told him, I said, dude, there's a dark side to the portal that a lot of people aren't talking about, where a lot of these kids don't find a place or find a home to play football.
Yeah, and all of a sudden they're all off scholarship, and they got some bad advice going to the portal, and now there's definitely a darker side. Yeah.
I like this right from Sage. Ohio State needs to keep improving the run scheme, blocking set by the pass. Yeah. I think that's what the bread and butter is. Until you actually know you have an offensive line that can go and just bully guys, that's the route they need to go.
Well, they also need to figure out what they have at the running back spot. I know C.J. Donaldson's played a lot of football, but they are going to still see what they've really got in James Peoples now that both Trey and Quinshawn are gone. So, I'm so interested to see who's going to win that starting job between Donaldson and Peoples. I tend to think it's going to be Donaldson just because he's got the experience. But, that's one of the position battles I'm excited to see when the spring rolls around. Yeah, it would be nice if we could get Damon Payne, also Phillip, but I don't think Jackson would be too pleased with that.
I don't want Damon Payne. I never want him. To what you just said about Donaldson starting, I heard you say that last episode, and I didn't say anything about it, but I was like, I don't know if I would like that or think that's going to happen. Since then, I'm actually on your side on this. I think C.J. Donaldson is going to be the starter. Again, he's been a starter. Last year was very good at West Virginia. I had a really good season. Yeah. And again, 6'2", 6'3", 240 pounds.
He's a big boy, and he can scoot.
I think he's the type of guy. I think you use these two the same way you use Judkins and Travion. You let one guy be the hammer, soften up that team, and then when it's time you want to press the go button, you put the young guy in. And again, we've talked about it already before, but when you have a running back, a young guy, a true freshman who's getting comparisons to J.K. Dobbins, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, what does that even look like? I mean, we remember J.K. Dobbins his freshman year. It was –
he was sharing time with Mike Weber at the time too.
Mm-hmm.
His freshman year, and he was still putting up those numbers. But yeah, I mean, he's a really good player. He's had double-digit touchdowns in each of his first 2 years. He's someone that is going to be able to really help a young running back room, because as we've talked about, behind him and Peoples, there's no experience. No one else has really gotten any snaps. So I do think moving forward, what they're going to want to do is kind of do what they did this year with the running back position. They're going to have a couple guys who they can lean on, so they don't just run one of them into the ground. So I think Day kind of saw the light on that, and I think that's how Chip Kelly wants to run things too.
Yeah, Jackson. But behind Peoples and Donaldson, man, it's one or two things in our it's one thing or both things in our run back room. No playing time, or no playing time and a walk on. That's literally what it is.
Yeah. I don't want TC Caffey as the third string running back. He's got some carries, but
he's got a touchdown. He's got a touchdown.
Okay.
That was, come on, that run was.
It was cool. It was good. But I mean, him coming back off an injury where he didn't even play the whole season, not enthused as far as their depth goes. So.
Most definitely.
Donaldson's going to bring a lot of magic in Columbus. That I can guarantee. It's going to be fun watching him. I mean, he was fun to watch at West Virginia. He's going to be fun to watch more than ever in Columbus.
Jackson, I don't know if there's anyone I know that watches more college football than you. I really don't know if I know anyone that does.
Well,
I try to watch as much as I can as well, so I'm right there with you.
I mean, it's always a good idea to keep up with everything going on. especially when it's like, well, I was gonna say Pac-12 after dark, but it's now like Big 12, ACC, Big 10 after dark at 1 a.m. on Saturdays during the season.
Yeah.
It's like that's my job, is make sure keep an eye on everything going on in the world of college football. And
Damn
I
good.
believe it's 205 days till week 0, 210 days until week 1 Thursday night, and 212 days until the Ohio State season kicks off and the Alabama season kicks off.
There you go.
That's right. Man, they got to get rid of week 0 though.
They do.
Season's too long as it is.
Speaking of dates, you said something earlier, Jackson. I just want to point this out real quick for all the Notre Dame fans out there. You talked about the drought of winning a national championship since '88 for Notre Dame. Man, that drought to beating Ohio State much longer, about double it.
1936, as a matter of fact. Yeah, back then, like Disney didn't have its movies until 1937. So I mean,
the atomic bomb wasn't a thing.
no,
that's right.
We didn't even have television.
That's true.
People sat by their radios to hear football games.
Yep.
So, last comment here about Turbo. I do like his potential as a true freshman. I don't think he's going to have that much of an impact personally just this year. Now, I could see him getting in every now and then as, kind of like a gadget kind of deal. Like you throw him out there, it's just another guy who could maybe catch a swing pass or, late in the game, take a run, see what he has. But I don't think he's going to play a significant role like Kurt Samuel did. I'm the wrong guy to talk about Dontre Wilson. I was never a huge fan of him. But, I don't think he's going to have a massive impact this year. Now, in the future, sure. But this year, I'm not entirely sure what you think. No.
We'll talk about that.
Machine.
Yeah. You know what? On the day that we talk about why I have this very big disdain for JT Barrett, we can talk about that too for you. I don't get that.
That's fine. We can talk about that. We can talk about that.
No, but yeah, Philip, we talked about it last episode, and like I think where Turbo can really show his worth is somewhere like on punt return, kick return, where we can actually use his ability because he has a lot of it. It also takes away from guys like Caleb Downs having to go back there or whoever else could go back there. I've never been a fan, unless your name is Chris Gamble or Ted Ginn Jr. I've never been a big fan of starters doing kick return and punt, especially punt return.
I do like Caleb Downs returning them for touchdowns, though. I'll take that.
I'll take that. But I remember back in high school, my coach asked me to do punt return. I said, I told him, I said, you want me to look up in the sky while I got guys running at me from 30 yards away? I'm okay on that. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anything else you want to cover here before we wrap up?
I don't have anything, man. I appreciate Jackson for coming on, man.
Yeah, Jackson. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys for having me on. Y'all stay safe, stay warm. It's colder there in Ohio than it is here in Bama. I mean, the Alabama weather is basically all 4 seasons. We don't know what weather we're going to get. 1 minute it feels like spring, next minute it's summer, minute later it's fall, and then an hour or so later or sometime at the night it's winter.
Hey, Jackson, you want to feel some cold? Come to Michigan.
Yeah.
Now it's warm today. It's been like 25 today. It's very warm today. But I actually went
melted today here in Columbus.
Yeah, dude, I went outside in some shorts and a cutoff. It felt great.
Yeah.
I need to go outside in the cold more often because especially with some magic cooking in the coming months, I'll definitely
acclimate yourself. That's right. That's right.
Exactly. Always good to get out that comfort zone.
Are you down in Alabama?
Huh?
Are you down in Alabama?
15 minutes away from the border of Tennessee. Yeah.
So do you know where it's down south by the Florida border? You know where Evergreen County is?
Small,
man, it's a hick town.
Oof.
Yeah, well, that's the majority of the state, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't that the majority of the state?
Oh,
I'm just kidding, Jackson.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
Hey, you know what's great about it? People in Michigan feel that way about Ohio.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
It's the craziest thing.
Oh man, there's always weird people in each part of the state. There's
Oh,
always
yeah.
a weird town in each state. There's always like some one weird dude going, "They took our jobs."
Yeah, for sure. Well, Garrison, if there's nothing else, we'll go ahead and get out of here. I know we'll be together here on Monday. Might be a different time than 8 o'clock. I know I've got another conflict there, so it might be like last Monday where we might get out to you guys a little bit early at 6 o'clock or something like that. But we'll talk to you guys then. And don't have anything else. OH.
I know.